Hi, Captain Mike here with you again with another microwaves kiln basics, and today I'm going to show you a few tips and tricks that will make using your microwave kiln hopefully a little better. The first one we're going to show you is not so much well, I guess it is a tip, but something that I found out quite by accident after having about four of these things, is that when you have this kiln in the microwave and you are going to check it to see how the object in the kiln is coming along, you need to pick it straight up and look under it. Don't do this. This material is so soft, and what will happen is over time the edges will round off a lot. Now that won't ruin your kiln, but to me it just is not the thing to do. So to start off with, just pick the kiln up very easily and set it back down after you have observed the material on the inside. And that's the first tip for today. As I mentioned before, and if you read the instructions carefully that come with your kiln, it will tell you to put a couple of coats of kiln wash. And I know it's difficult to see in this video. In this light, this is a slight cream color against this white. You may or you may not can see it. And of course, the next tip I've told you to do was to put you a piece of kiln paper. In this case, it's round. You can put a square piece, you can put anything you want, but to really protect it, if you want to be really, conscientious, the round works really good. Now, here's where the tip comes in. You have to make these things, and what you do is you get you a piece of kiln paper. In this case, it's just a long sheet, and you draw circles on it. Just so happens that this circle is the same size as a standard cottage cheese or feta cheese plastic dish. It's the top. And so you can just go down the piece of paper and you can draw all the little circles you want, and then you cut them out with a pair of scissors, and you have those. Another idea, and I just tested it a while ago, is that you can take the same piece of paper, once you've got your things drawn, and you can kind of fold it like this, okay? And once you got it folded, then you just cut it out and you get them all at one time. And I did cut the corner of this, and my regular old scissors cut it just fine. If you got a really good pair, you won't have any problem. Then you'll end up with about, I don't know, 1, 2, 6, 8 of them at one time. So that saves you a little time. If you don't want a circle that big, that's fine. There are different sizes. You can just cut them any size you want. And to really get fancy, you can take a compass and you can make them any size you want. Just put your compass on a piece of paper, spin it around. I think you know how to do that. And that gives you your shelf paper. And that is the second tip that I'm going to give you today. The third tip is what to do about all the Sharpie marks that you put on the glass when you draw patterns on it. I draw a lot of patterns for my pendants so that I don't, I can nip them with my nippers, and there'll be stuff left on their edges, and also there will be, sometimes I just don't like that and I want to take the whole pattern off before I nip it and draw something else. So what you do is you get you some alcohol, just regular any old kind of alcohol will work, and I put it in a spray jar, or bottle, excuse me, a bottle just like this, and it's real simple. You just spray it on, and this is a permanent marker, and it comes right off. See, old sneaky snake is gone, and that was white, And of course, this is a standard black marker, and that's one of those fancy colored ones. They'll come right off. Boom, they're gone. Now, this does two things. You also can use this alcohol to clean your glass before you put it in the microwave oven to diffuse it. Because you get oil from your hands and all kinds of dust and dirt stuff, so you use the same thing. Just use regular isopropyl alcohol, spray it on there, wipe it off real good, hold it around the edges, and put it in your kiln, and it will fuse a lot nicer. So I hope that is of some use to you. This next tip is one that I found to be very useful, especially when you're making pendants and you've got a crappy microwave like I do. They're given to me, so I can't complain. But the turntable rattle and shake, and you put something in there that's just kind of balanced, it's going to shake it all over the place. So you need to have some way to get the parts to stay put while it begins to fuse. A lot of people use aloe. That's fine. It just doesn't hold very good. And then there is some other products that you can get. I think some Glass-tastic or something like that. It comes in, I know 2 different thicknesses, and I have used that. But when I really want something to stick, I use super glue. And in this case, I use this super fast thin because it runs. It's thinner than water. It runs, and it'll just wick up under the glass or wherever I want it to go. And you know, I put it in a little bottle like this with one of these little nice applicators, and I can precisely put the super glue where I want it. And of course, you asked me, I'm sure, well, gee, you know, what is super glue going to do to your glass? Well, not much. It burns off almost 100%, and for all practical purposes, it burns off. Here is something that's done with super glue, 2 pieces of 3mm COE 90, and I'm sure 96 and all the others work the same. And I actually run super glue across the face of the whole thing and then put it together and glued it. And this is one with no super glue. And as you can tell, if you were here looking, there's very little difference. There's just a tiny, tiny bit of haze, but not enough to really notice on the super glued one. Now, if you were using translucent or opaque glass, it would make absolutely no difference whatsoever. And, you know, here's the results of doing this. See this little turtle right here? Just, you know, the shell wants to move on him when I'm getting ready to put him in, and all that dichroic, it wants to bounce around, so it's glued. It's not going anywhere. And in the case of this little job right here, let's just say you wanted to, you know, top off this little pendant right here. You know, Grandma wanted one for half for the boy and half for the girl, but you wanted to put clear. You could run a seam right here, wait a few minutes, and it would be hard, and then you could do what you wanted to with it. You could cap it without a problem. Okay. In this case, though, I'm just going to show you this way. We're going to do it just like this. You know, you put it like that just to give it the thickness, so the pendant won't change around. And you see how stuff wants to bounce around? It's so hard to keep it where you want it. But you take a little bit of super glue, and it doesn't take much. This stuff runs, and it just boom, boom, like that. And then you wait a couple of minutes, and it'll set. And it'll all probably even glue to the bottom there. It'll run that much. And the hard part, the part that really, really kind of messes with me is when I try to stack dichroic. You know, we want to use all these little bitty pieces here. We don't want to waste any of it. So we want to stack it on there some sort of kind of fancy way. It's really not important how we do it. You know, you just stack your little pieces on there. And, of course, you want to make sure that you got your dichroic where it's all facing up or it's all facing down. It's not touching each other, because it'll cause you some problems. But then you just take your glue and just kind of drop it around between it. It don't really matter. Like I said, it's going to burn off. And, you know, I can't tell you how long it'll take for this to set up. Depends on the temperature where you live and humidity and all that, I'm sure. But that is the big trick right there in the tip on that, because when it gets set up, it's just like this. I mean, it's not going anywhere. You don't have to worry about your crappy microwave turntable vibrating like it's trying to do the hula dance and shake everything loose. It won't shake loose, and it will burn off, and you'll have a right nice pendant. So I only have one more tip that I'll show you. It's really quick, and that'll be the end of this video until I can think of some other kind of a tip or trick to tell you. Now, most of you all already know this little tip right here, especially if you're doing much fused glass. And of course, if you're you've really been into fused glass for quite a while, you're probably not watching my videos anyway, because these are aimed at people who just saw an advertisement for a microwave kiln, or they saw someone else who had one and they said, gee, that would be swell, not a big investment, I can use scrap glass, so I want one. This is what these videos are aimed at. This last tip has got to do with how to make your pendant or your object that you put in your microwave kiln. Actually, it works on, I use it on all my fused glass, but for the microwave kiln, I use this clear coat overglaze. I think there's a couple of different manufacturers, but this one just happens to be the one that I have, and so that's what we're going to spray on it. I put it in one of these little neat bottles that I get from Walmart. A lot of people use an airbrush, and that's fine. I don't have time to go cut the compressor on and hook all that stuff up and then clean it. So I just put it in a little bottle like this, and all you have to do, spritz it a couple of times, and that is it. And it'll make the difference in that turtle coming out nice and shiny, and it possibly being dull, which is devitrification. If you don't know what devitrification is, look it up. I won't bore you with a long explanation of what it is, but it's the glass just basically reacts to the heat and time, and it goes dull instead of staying shiny. That's the down and dirty explanation. But you don't have to wait for that to dry. Once you get that thing done, you just put the top back on it, stick it in the microwave oven, and start zapping it. And if you want to know about the schedule I use, you're welcome to look at my other videos, and I kind of tell you, especially on the basic one, on the time I use and why I do it that way. Your mileage may vary, so I appreciate you all watching that part. All of this stuff that I have here, I don't get paid for any of it. I don't endorse these people. This is just what I use, okay? You may have a whole lot better source, and by all means use it. And if you have any questions, comment down below, and I'll do my best to get back to you and try to help you out. Or if you have a correction for something I did wrong or said wrong and you'd like to comment, be respectful, and I will be more than glad to take it under consideration and improve my skills, and hopefully I can help you improve your skills. So thank you very much for watching my video.